What's up? What's up, AMC Ape? Wesley, C-Fats, Moon Ape, Tramadol. Devin. What's up, my dude? Alrighty, alright. Baby mama. When? Is that when, Moon? This channel slaps harder than Will Smith. Hey, I agree, man. We still need that Will Smith slap, though. Slapping that ask. You know, when we rally with the family, that's what we do. We get Will Smith up here. It's needed. Guys, here is the projection I posted yesterday. The video projection on this week's price action. A little projection. We definitely have it playing out so far. Going back and forth. This does include the after-hour session, so just a heads up. Like, this is from 3 a.m. to 3 a.m. I am using for AMC and for other stocks. I do like to use the NYSE, so might look a little bit different than the normal one and we used to. But with this one, you get a lot more data. So that's the one I'm using. And you can see right now the price is starting to come back up. Again, I am looking for that $6 range. So this is just a range. You can definitely come up here and test the 560 level before coming down. But this is what I got for the week. I'm starting to think that this is going to fully play out with the pump and dump and pump that we're expecting based on the November tracking, the November cycle tracking. All right, so let's go intraday and look at the chart, see what we got going on. We got a little projector pattern in the making. Do it like that. So a little projector. And now we have a continuation. Okay, so, and I'm going to go over what I think is going to happen once we reach these levels. This isn't a guaranteed thing. Remember that, and it's never financial advice. But because, you know, I did have some questions on why I thought the price was going to come down and not just keep going. And it's not that that can't happen, okay? The price can keep going if it wants to. But we, like, you know, one of the things I focus on in the channel is the structure of patterns. And I had pulled up a lot of them that have already done this here in the short term. Remember, these guys that are going right now are ahead of the game. They already pumped. So because we're in November, the structure of that pattern is pump, dump. You have this little mid phase here. You have another one. And then that one usually pumps up again and comes up to meet a level of resistance, which in this case is 850. That would be just a short-term resistance level to track. And then from there, you know, with the cycle, that's where we bring in the cycle. Because right now, we're not focusing too much on the cycle as we were before. Okay, a couple of reasons for that is the past 4 points of interest that we've been tracking have been pretty flat, and yeah, we looked at a couple of things that were basically telling us that that's just not the case right now. So if we are tracking a new cycle, I've already done some analysis on that, and I believe we are tracking the same cycle, just it's shifted about a month behind. So instead of having a POI in August, it would be sometime in September. But this is what we got right now, guys. This is where I think we are in the cycle. Currently. Now, I got my own version of it. This isn't quite the version that I'm tracking, but the one that I think is going to pan out looks a little bit different. Here's the projection. You can see it comes up, and instead of coming all the way back down to 3, we're ascending. So we're just respecting this ascending support trend line. That needs to happen. That needs to hold. If you want to track this, I put it in the link below. If not, it's on the video that I posted yesterday. That one has the tracker for AMC. You can track it if you would like. All right, here's the thing again. Look at that. We're starting to see that price action come up. So and like, dude, so I'm not pushing it out a month. It's just the cycle is something you guys have to understand. It's not a recurring thing forever. And I can pull up a collage of videos here where I talk about this. I talk about an ending in the cycle. Here's the cycle, right? Okay. Here's the cycle. You can see I cut it off right here. Okay, I cut it off right here, and we don't have anything up to this point right now. Not that I'm not tracking this cycle anymore, but it's likely that because, you know, like we've experienced this before, guys. I said this. We experienced this with Tilray, with Nikola. They're starting to see new cycles where, you know, we don't track them the same way anymore. Like, when options expire and these guys have hedged for contracts, okay, like you do have a new cycle. Typically, it starts at the beginning of the year. It's like with these leaps, but it does slightly change after that. So it's not that we're shifting anything. We're just gathering more information as it comes. And I said this too. Like once we have a point of interest that's outside of the zone, that's likely going to be an indicator that we're breaking out of this cycle and we're starting a new one. This is a normal thing that happens in the markets, and again, it's inevitable. It's inevitable that this is a thing. So right now, again, based on this POI here, to me, it's seeming like we are tracking a new cycle that shifted about a month, but that doesn't mean that we are. This could just be a pump and dump. We call it an error in the cycle. That's the first one that we've seen, and then we go from there. But again, that's something we're just gonna have to wait for here going into August. My projection still holds, but it holds on a lot of different factors, not just tracking the cycle. We're tracking sectors in the cycle as well, like what other markets are doing to narrow down, you know, when AMC could potentially keep going up. And that's what I'm doing right now, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself on when I think these POIs are going to happen next, because this is so fresh. It's so early, and we just need more days. We need more days to pan out here. Here's that projection here. But no, I mean, like, and William, you're right. You're right. That is a thing as well. Like, the cycle, guys. It's an algorithm that is made by these institutions and by these hedge funds that have big money. So you do have to ask yourself the question, like, when things are released, when the volume is released, I bring up the threshold all the time. There is a threshold that these guys have, and I'm gonna try and visualize this in a way that it like where it makes sense. But if this is a threshold here, if they're trying to keep the price in this range here, say the cycle starts right here. Okay, so if this is the start of the cycle, and we can do it back here as well. We can do it back here. So think about it this way. Parallel channel, and we're going to split this up. I'm going to draw my little threshold lines here. I think this will make a little bit more sense when it comes to the cycle. So say that the cycle starts here, okay, January, and it lasts 2 years, because that's what we know so far, that this cycle has lasted about 2 years. So if we look at what's going on inside here, and we look at the parallel channel, that's more important here than anything else, because it's very clear how leaps are behaving here. If you're hedging for something and you are trying to keep the price in this range below while still losing money because, well, things crossed the volatility zone, which in this case, you can call it a threshold. So if this is a threshold of where they're trying to keep the price below, but they fail to do it, the price squeezes. It goes up. It reaches a certain level, and the way they hedge for that is they release options outside, and they prepare for this before. So they know where the price is going to go, but they know that they have to have these options available so that retail or other institutions buy them, and then they use that capital for with the help of some kind of catalyst. So somebody else is in this, right? Big money controls and is able to access a lot of other leverage options, which in this case, catalysts, negative catalysts that affect the price. So if it's a buy button removal, or if it's something else here that's going to make AMC's price go down, they're going to use that. Okay, and then this is it. Like I've said this many times before, but how are you going to do that? You're going to collect premium, and that right there that you're looking at here, that's the hedge number we talked about, which is 40 on AMC plus Ape's price. Okay, so they'll rally this thing. It crosses a threshold. It triggers a squeeze. Okay, we're going to call it a squeeze, even though it wasn't a clear squeeze, right? A little mini squeeze. Then, because they're hedging for later dated contracts that don't expire for a year, okay, they can do whatever the hell they want here. They can do whatever the hell. So all they're doing is collecting money, and they bring it back down into that hedge zone a year later. So here we got January. Here we got January. Comes back into that same channel. So this is why I think that we are in a new cycle, because now they've brought it back down to these lower levels that we haven't seen since January of 2021. Okay, so if you take this back down here, okay, we're in the same range, in the same, not the same ascending range. We're not in the parallel channel, but we're outside. And why? Before this cycle started, what was going on before that? We had AMC outside of that zone, but it's a lot bigger. This is a lot bigger. Okay, so if this is a new cycle and we're outside the zone and we're expected to come back in, they're going to do the same thing. Okay, but it's not going to be the same structure. It's going to be different. Like back here, we had a little pennant that ended up kicking things off. Okay. And in this case, we don't have the same structure. We have more of like a cup formation, or we would call this a accumulation pattern in the making, which means you have to ride your way up, get close to support before the threshold is hit. In this case, guys, the threshold is a little different. Okay, in November of 2020, the threshold was right here, around that 350 level. As soon as that level was crossed, this thing triggered a mini squeeze. Same thing right here. The threshold is probably at around $8. Why do you think it got rejected there? You're not seeing it on the daily chart, but why do you think it got rejected there? They were able to bring it down, and you know, in this case, we did have a bearish catalyst, which was Adam Aaron doing the that tweet that he posted. That essentially was in a sense, a little bit of FUD, and you just have to think about these catalysts sometimes. Why are they timed so perfectly, especially on these peaks? And it's not about trying to crack down why that happened or why he did that or whatever, because at the end of the day, things are structured the way they are. We've seen them time and time again, not only with what Adam Aaron says, or if earnings line up with some of these POIs. It's just the way the market works sometimes, and a lot of the times it's just it's unexpected stuff that just comes up as the price either comes up or down. It's just these unexpected events, but they are part of it. I mean, they are part of it in the end. So again, if this is the threshold right here at 7 or at 850, and they're going to keep the price down, as soon as it triggers and it goes above that price, it becomes a danger zone, and that means the price can just flood over. So back to the whole thing from the start, right? We talked about, well, can the price keep going here? Yeah, it can keep going. If this thing blows up and starts going back up to 8 and it crosses that, it can definitely keep going. But you do have to look at the technicals here, because most of the time a stock is going to follow the algorithm structure of that whatever pattern is being made. And rarely are you going to see a stock just blow up and from what it's previously doing. You do have to look at that. Back here, the reason why AMC just blew up was because it had been in a descending channel for a long time. It had been doing this for years, 2017, 2020. And, the levels too, you have to think about. So this thing went from 21 into the dollar range, took about 3 years. Here we're at about 2 years from that point on. The chart looks a little bit different. And, we're tracking other things as well. This was a huge pump and a huge dump. So it's not the same thing here. This is slow and steady on the way down before it breaks up. So this is a lot more common for something like this to just happen very quickly. Why my projection here drags out at a couple of months. I mean, it's not like it's dragging out years. The projection I have is very clear, guys. It's whoa. Always go on that 4 hour or else it won't do it correctly. Here we go. You can see right here the projection I have goes up until about October time. And this one right here, I wouldn't say is conservative. I think it's definitely a little bit quicker than a lot of these other possibilities with all these other patterns. A lot of these other patterns are calling for a later run up, but I think that based on the structure of this right here and what the entire market is doing right now, this is a likely scenario for AMC, considering that it has not ran up the same way as the majority of these other stocks in the market. So everything else in the market right now is pumping, and AMC has just started to pump, got rejected, getting ready to come back up. Let's see. Yeah, the megaphone, man. I remember the megaphone too. And we could look at the monthly chart, man. I haven't looked at the monthly chart in a little bit. Let's do that. I know that the weekly chart here, though, is looking pretty nice with the spots indicator. Okay, we almost see how we got rejected on the spot on the pink spot curve. Guys, this is all you need, honestly. Like, this is the thing I track the most on AMC, and it's right now the spots indicator that I have using very specific parameters that correlate with the cycle. It got rejected off of that level. The moment we cross this, I think we are set to go. We're good to go. I mean, look at this. Back here. Full cross. Now, this is the weekly chart. So, again, once you cross it, it can come up, it can come down, and ride the wave until it just goes, right? We get that initial cross because this is a lot bigger than what happened down here. So, you do have to add also to the run-up. The run-up can't happen right away in a week. It has to ride up first, then it'll kick off and go. So very similar to GME. Remember that GME back in 2021 did the same thing. It took quite some time for it to reach the levels it did, and it was just pump and dump after pump and dump. On Reddit, you know, that's where it all went down. Ever since October or August of 2020, it really all started around that time where things started to kind of heat up in the meme world with GameStop and then AMC eventually later in the year. But, you know, same thing like is going on right now, I think, as far as AMC's chart goes. It looks a lot more like GME did back in 2020. Looking at these two, let's put it back to back. Okay, so see this right here? See how it pumps and then it dumps? This is April, and then for about 147 days from the bottom right here. So from the bottom, I'm going to say 150 days bottom, and then it starts going up for good. I would say a bottom here would have been, we got to do a bottom to the actual run-up. The run-up was January, I'm going to say January 11th is when it started to actually run, and then it took about a week and a half. So that checks out, 287 days. So if we do the same thing here, see that? Late October time. And this one here would line up with the regular cycle we're tracking. But again, even if it wasn't, sometime around then going into November would be the next other POI we would be tracking from there. And then the one we have here is late August into September. So yeah, man, I mean, this is not bad. I mean, just considering the downward pressure that we had from GME. Now, both charts look the same, but the reality is that they did not, AMC was not in like a ascending channel when it went up to 25. It was in a double bottom. So I mean, the charts look completely different here. Why I'm comparing AMC to GME right now is because they do kind of look the same back in 2020. See, the GME have little things, and GME already crossed. We have a blue cross on the weekly chart. So if this holds, man, for GME, we'll see, because GME is also had already pumped. It's a little bit ahead in the, as far as the percentage goes. It's still up higher than AMC, so it's got a higher correlation, or higher correlation. I was gonna say the beta is not quite how it used to be. It used to be like 1-to-1, and now you can see it is straying away a little bit. They're not tracking the same way. It's crazy here. So the weekly chart, it crosses, and there's a lot, and I mean like a lot of saturation here on the spots indicator, which is, I always say that with this, you want to just let it ride until you get a clear cross. So, but that also sometimes is an indicator that you're going to get a pretty nasty breakout once it's done saturating here, which in this case, well, let's see, this blows up. GME, pump, 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 and then here we have a pink spot, comes down, rides the curve, and now we have a blue spot again. So if this holds, man, yeah, it can definitely keep going. All right, let's take a look at SPY real quick. SPY. Yeah, so SPY, and you know, I've been pretty clear about this too, but I'm letting this just SPY ride now. As far as having any kind of short on SPY right now is a little bit dangerous. Some of the patterns that we've been tracking have still been calling for upside. This one right here has been following for a little bit, actually. I started tracking this on July 11th. This was a bullish pattern. Initially, I was bearish here, but we do have a bullish pattern that is tracking right now and is calling for about the 467 level. So there might be one last fake out going into August, but I have said already that I think August is going to be a bearish month for the larger cap stocks. So I'm talking Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, blue chip stocks. August might not be so hot. For the meme stocks, that's a different story. Remember that in June of 2022, when the entire market dumped here very quickly, AMC was in an uptrend. And that is what I see happening right now. I think regardless of what the market does, AMC should still be pumping. Look at this. So June, this was probably the ugliest week in the market, like in a really long time. Okay, the market is dumping like crazy. AMC is just riding up what we're expecting, right? We're expecting a ascending channel support. Now the trend line we have right now is a little bit more inclined, which is good because you want to see a bigger run. But look at that, right? AMC doesn't even take a big hit here. It just goes down. It pumps before, it keeps pumping, and then it just goes down like a few bucks. Not even. It goes down like $1. And the market just takes a massive dump before riding back up. So very similar to maybe not so much this pattern here. I think up to this point I wouldn't track it, but I do see that for 40 level being hit sometime in August, probably early on. There's one more pump maybe, and it does something like this. Starts riding back down. Establish the first step on the way up. Because it's just been ride, dude. Ever since March, it's just been ride. No breathers. No breathers. Meta. So yeah, Meta, Tesla, Nvidia, Microsoft. If SPY comes down to 440 in the next 2 weeks, those are gonna take a hit. They're gonna take a pretty big hit, especially the tech, dude. Tech, Nvidia. Nvidia is probably gonna take the biggest dip. Okay, so let me tell you guys something right now. NVIDIA is at a point of interest in the cycle. I'm going to show you guys a pattern that we track on the Discord here. So I made 6 different patterns that I track that have points of interest at the end. This is called an M Incline. POI Patterns, M Inclined, and this one, in this case, I'm going to show you guys a bullish one. So this one is bullish, right? You can see right here we're using, I don't know why it's, so this is what we call it, right? It's M inclined. You have a support level and you have a resistance level, right? So it's a parallel channel that you come into and you create an M-shaped pattern. That's what it is. And you're just riding this wave. At the end, these are called POI patterns because every time when you get close to the end here, it has a volatility zone. So it either goes up or down very quickly. In this case, it does look pretty bullish, but because of everything else that I'm considering in the market right now, it seems like this is going to come down. Like there's going to be some kind of catalyst here soon that is going to break NVIDIA's run. And you do have to zoom out of the chart now that it's like extremely, I mean, there's just gaps all over the place. It's extremely overbought. RSI changes indicator here is going to show us a massive spike. So yeah, man, like this thing, if this thing keeps going up, it's gonna go to like, I mean, here I'll show you guys an example here. Yesterday, OP did this. I'll show you guys an M incline that played out. It was a positive one. M incline positive. Let's go on the minute chart, and it's right here. So this one is positive, okay? Positive. Starts going up, it literally will squeeze to the upside. This thing keeps going, it rides up, and then eventually it just breaks down. It starts coming down. But you see this one, right? 1, 2, 3, POI. This is the same thing. 1, 2, 3, POI down. So this right here, that is what I'm looking for with NVIDIA. The only thing that kind of scares me a little bit, though, with this short is this is inclined and this is not. This is flat. It's leveled. So that's the only difference between the two. A lot of inclined ones will break down, but in this case, and in both of these cases here, you could see that the leveled one broke down, and then the leveled one also has a pretty massive push to the upside. So watching this one, highly watching this one, I think what I'm going to do is just to be on the safer side, but maybe wait for a break here below the 440 range, because if it breaks below that, it's going to get very close to the blue curve on the spots indicator, which you guys already know how that works. If it crosses this, I mean, look at how it just respected this curve. On the way down, guys, that's all you need. Look at this. Massive push to the upside, pink spot, and this thing falls. It just breaks below. Does not give a damn. So this thing is, yeah, dude, I think it's getting ready. Getting ready to come down. All right, AMC back and up 7.64%. It's riding the waves. I kind of do agree in a way. I don't think it's gonna come down to 3, but I think going into earnings though, yes, this is probably gonna come back up to the $7 range. Here's the projection, and then here's the short-term projection based on that. I've cut it. I've cut it up into little daily candles for you guys. Also, just a little projection on the spots indicator, which sometimes helps with kind of confirming your analysis. But if we draw just a curve, we can do that here. So this would be going up like this. Right, that's a little curve. And then we have a pink spot right here. And this is way too slow, so it would probably happen like that. You got a pink spot, it comes down, and this turns pink, goes down like this. Kind of see like the same thing that's going on right here. Because this is going to happen a lot quicker. Okay. Ooh. Be like this. All right. I mean, you get the hang of it, right? It'd be back and forth like that. And then eventually you'll get another blue spot here. August 4th, it just keeps going up until earnings, which is the 8th. And then that is where I think we would have some kind of fake out. So because this is the macro projection, you could see it comes up to a range. Might not come all the way up here. It could. But if it comes up here close to earnings and, you know, they say something about like an offering or something, because with the events that took place in November, they did have an offering right around this time, okay? Right around here. They had offering talks, and then they said, oh, it's completed. And then it completed, and then they had that Cinemark, like FUD or whatever. It starts coming down like this. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do believe we're going to get something like that. It's just going to be a shakeout, guys. It's going to be back and forth. Pump, dump, pump, dump, pump, dump, pump, dump, and then pump, right? Like, the whole point here is that they want to shake out as many people as they can. That is just a nasty pattern. It's just the way the market works. All right, let's pull up this indicator too. I just made an indicator that's pretty dope. Show you guys. It spots all-in-one stocks. This thing is cool as hell. Because it will tell me stocks that are about to break out intraday. It's the coolest thing ever. And it's comparing basically the entire market, or the stocks that I input in, these are going to be the ones that it's showing. So We can see down here right now we have metamaterials in the last couple of minutes. It's been coming down. So again, we come up here and metamaterials. You could see it's been in a downtrend. And you know that's the cool thing about this, right? We have anything that starts pumping very quickly here is going to indicate a breakout. And instead of me having to look at numbers, I could visually look at every single chart here, which is just awesome. So yeah, and I'm working on having something like this out for everyone to use. I just don't know the best way to do it because I actually have like 10 different indicators combined all into one because this is so much data TradingView has to put in that I don't even think TradingView can handle it. But this is freaking awesome. Okay, look, we could clearly see the oversold area is everything below the average. So the average is always going to be just saturated, right? So everything above the average or below the average is going to tell you if it's oversold or overbought. Okay, last we have, let's see, way up here. And some of them are not going to have that much volume. So those, like, you know, down here, for example, we have, in this case would be BBIG is way below, but you can see it's like barcoding, so it's like completely separate from everything else. We have a little breakout happening right here, and that is 6. So what do we got? That is NVAX. Look at that little breakout going on NVAX. Up 12% for the day. We can see it's already starting to break out of that moving average. A lot of volume coming in. It's probably going to continue to go up. I don't know if you guys could see that too right here. That's fun. Fun is looking to break out. We'll have NVAX right there, trying to break out. Funware. Okay, Funware doesn't have that much volume, so I probably wouldn't use this one as a good example. CGC. So cannabis stocks, you can see they're down today. Yeah, I think NVAX is best one here right now. But yeah, this thing is pretty dope. Keep an eye on Yell. Interesting. Yeah, kind of looks like this thing definitely had some kind of split, didn't it? Oh my god. Jeez. LIDR 43% on the weekly chart just crossed blue. That's why. Look at that. Spots indicator, guys. Blue spot literally this week, and you just see the price surge 50%. I'm telling you, man, this thing is powerful. Pink spot. Man. Pink spot down 70%. Little fake out right here, and then blue spot. Yeah, I don't know, man. This thing could probably keep going. Let's see, though. Let's see what the daily chart's looking like. It's definitely a gap, some kind of gap up, isn't it? A little bit of a gap up. Spots is fun, man. Spots is fun. It's a fun little tool for sure. Ooh, nice hanging wick here, about 60 cents. Could head up. This is a quick liquidity grab right here. Sometimes the price ends up gravitating back up here very quickly before being shut down. If it crosses, though, you do get a continuation. But yeah, this looks like just short-term accumulation, and then if it gets rejected off of resistance, then it's going to turn into a redistribution pattern. But yeah, this one's looking like it wants to keep going. Let's see intraday. You know what did this, dude? Freaking, I'm telling you guys, bro. OP is OP, man. It's overpowered. So if I had to compare both of these, you can kind of see it with volume as well. You can see it dries out a little bit here. You have this little, you have some green volume coming in. You have your breakout. It seems like it's going to come down. And then it's getting ready to take a breather. But I would not mind using this pattern for this, because this is pretty classic too, considering it just crossed on the weekly chart. It definitely looks like it has more juice to go. But remember, on the way up, you're not just going to have a stock go up and go up and go up. That's pretty rare. If that does happen, it happens very quickly. You guys remember like those Chinese stocks that would pump back in last year? Those, like, they would go, dude, man, those went up so quickly, and they went from like $10 to like 3,000 for, I forgot where, but that was crazy, man, and that happened so fast. It happened after hours. I think this is riding its way up. It's taking a little bit more time, but here, let's take this and plop it up top. see it's already coming down here again. And actually, look at that, dude. Bro. So there is that similar structure to it. You can see it definitely keeps going up here though, but if we take the bottom there, we do get the same level. And that's the thing about crypto and stocks. You're always going to have some kind of I think pretty major volatility going on in the crypto markets that mess with some of these levels, but it is coming down. I would expect this to come down back to 36 around there, and then maybe start riding back up again before it gets broken down, and then maybe you get a continuation here. Let's see what it looks like on the hourly. Yep, comes all the way up to that wick. I like this, man. I like this. Definitely see it going up to that wick before getting rejected. This is the high we took from OP down here, which is lining up with the analysis. So I like this one. Okay, let's go back to Amy real quick. What software do I use? This is TradingView, dude. The reason why there's a background is not because I can't see it. I can't see the background. It's for you guys. It definitely, I think it looks more appealing to have a nice moving background, but I use OBS, and then OBS does that for me. So there's some filters you can put on there that makes the background clear. I wish though, man, if they did have something like that. It probably wouldn't work though, because these guys are trying to simplify and make the application smooth. So if they add backgrounds to it, it would probably make the experience a lot slower or a lot laggier maybe with a an HD background. But you can always do it, man. Like sometimes I mess around with it. I plop open OBS and have it like I have multiple monitors, so I can display it on different screens and just look at it that way. That works. That works out. All right, guys, where are we at here? 733, 750. Oh my God, look at that! Just a penny and change goes up about 0.2%. That's pretty insane. Here's that projection from yesterday, guys. Look at that. I mean, I think it's following pretty freaking well. All right, let's spot some breakouts, see what's going on in the breakout world. Let's do the 4-hour and see what the macro charts are telling us right now. They're saying that Carvana is winning in the entire market right now. Carvana is number one, and we got, looks like EV low. Okay, we got blue here, AAOI, probably Mara, Upstart, NVAX heading up there. I'm on the 4-hour, though. If I do the daily, I guarantee you Mara is going to be up there. Okay, we got a breakout happening right here, though. QSI. I did look at this last week. QSI is looking pretty good, man. QSI, along with a bunch of other stocks in the market, have been shorted to the ground. This thing went from 24 bucks to $1, and now we're starting to see a nice little breakout. Initially here, I probably wouldn't touch it. Very common pattern. Like I said in the markets, guys, what are we doing right now? We're making a pump and dump formation, which with that little mid-hump phase, right? We call it a little mid-hump phase. Okay, in that. So, because of that, you do have some resistance here. This can come up and probably do something like that before it starts breaking out, continuing to come up. And because we're expecting the markets to come down, I would see that happening. But QSI, I think in the mid-term, is a good stock. We're definitely seeing that breakout happening on the all-in-one indicator. QSI, we have one, a pretty fresh one happening right here. You can see that. SDC, this one, man, today it started to pump, and I've been tracking SDC for quite some time now. Look at that break, guys. So this is the ARC setup, the inverse ARC setup with a POI that's already broken up. I think this one is going to go to the $1.30 range to meet resistance, and it could potentially keep going to the $2 range. But the good thing, though, is that along with the entire market, it's probably going to take a breather here in the next few days, and that's going to be an opportunity, in my opinion. So I'm waiting for that. I was waiting for the break. I know it just happened today, but with every break, you don't want to jump in right away because you do have breathers on the way up. We have a blue spot on the daily or on the 4-hour, which is good. So SDC, another good one. And I'm just letting you guys know, man, this thing is giving us everything here. Upstart, obviously, all these guys have already had nice little runs. Nikola, obviously, man. Nikola is pumping. It's going. And I am tracking a pretty nice pattern on Nikola that I think is going to just freaking blow, man. This thing is going to keep going. Nikola looks great. I think Nikola's the only one that I'm pretty freaking bullish on, in that this thing could just keep going and not stop, not breathe, because of how it's been shorted. If you guys have been on the channel, you know how much I talk about Nikola and its potential to squeeze here. I mean, look at this chart. It's a pellet. It's a bullet. I've never seen anything like it. I think this is the most unique chart as far as following an algorithm, because this thing all the POIs on this were very clear up to this point here, going into actually January, which is funny because that is where we think the cycle ended. And now this thing is surging. Just keeps going up. You know, the FUD is over, I think, on Nikola because they have a new CEO. EVs are pumping. So, yeah, I think Nikola is well on its way, man. Uh, 8.3 on AMC. There it is. And let's see how the projection is looking. Short-term POI. Look at that, guys, man. We are tracking this thing like you wouldn't believe. Look at that. So, Matt, before I do anything with Nikola, okay, and this goes mainly because it's the beginning of the month, going into the beginning of the month, and the AMC projection that I have here applies to the entire market. So I'm being patient in that I want to wait for things to trade sideways and come down during the week to enter the lower cap. So the lower cap stocks, not the mid and the large cap. Mid and large cap stocks, I think, are going to start coming down. That's my only concern. But like I said, and the things that I've been tracking here for Nikola, if that is the case, these guys are going to pump a lot quicker once the market actually starts coming down. So, you know, that's why I'm a little bit nervous to jump on anything right now with Nikola, because it is up 20% today, and if it comes down with the markets in the next few days, as long as it trades sideways, it still has that potential to start climbing back up around mid-August time. So again, I'm gonna wait for that. I think like many other stocks, I think they're gonna climb up, they're gonna pump quickly, and then if the markets take a heavy dip, they'll come down, just not to the same extent. I think that a lot of these other stocks will, right? Like Upstart, AI, those mid-cap stocks, and then the blue chip stocks. So just waiting a little bit for that to pull the trigger. Hey guys, you want to see something though? Look at this. Here's a little pump, here's a dump, and here's that pattern again, right there, that I've been talking about here in the entire market. You're gonna see this on the micro charts. You're gonna see it on every freaking time frame. It's just crazy. I mean, it's right here again. And it's literally playing out right here again too. Just crazy, dude. Oh, Roku. I forgot about Roku too, man. Roku is another one that is also pumping. Yeah, this one is pumped. It's pumped. And the crazy part about this one, I was initially tracking the GME pattern. I don't know if I still have it. Yeah, it's right here. And the thing is, this one, and look at this, guys, inverse POI right here. Just so classic. So classic, man. Bro. Inverse POI, and it says, you know what? Let's track inverse here, and let's start doing this part of the algorithm, because that's literally what it's doing right now. What the hell, dude? Yeah, Roku's probably just gonna keep going, man, to 107, take a breather, and then probably back up to 141, and then keep going. This is GME in August 2020, going into January, and then here it just like squeezes. Squeeze play on Roku, man. It's just like it's playing it like this fast. It's literally just going fast. We track some of these patterns, man, and they just speed up so quickly. This one is, yeah, it's sped up very quickly. Up 7% today on Roku. GME, the longer pattern on GME. Oh man, look at this. You know what's crazy? On the daily chart, this indicator, you would think that this is GME, but it's not. It's actually Mara. Man, Mara has just been killing it, dude. And look at in terms of percentage, guys. Look at where AMC is at. AMC is down here. This is AMC. GME's green. I think this is Ocugen. Yeah, CGN. We got Mara up here. This is VXRT. NVAX. And then these are the guys that are coming in now. But nothing like 2021. Like we can compare this as the start of something, but definitely like we are not seeing the same levels that we saw in 2021. We just can't compare it because 2021 was something else, dude. It was everything, man. Everything was squeezing. So this is just like it's a little tiny version right here. That 2020 is what it looks like to me. Yeah, no, is definitely killing it right now in the markets, and it flipped on one of the POIs we were tracking. So yes, I agree. I think the crypto markets, even if they do take a breather soon, like if things, the crypto markets are in a vulnerable spot as far as like tracking a volatility. I think they're just they're either getting ready to continue to go up or break like a heavy breakdown. I'll show you guys the crypto markets right now. We're tracking all-in-one crypto. This one here has quite a bit as well. We go on the daily chart, you're gonna see like everything. Well, actually, no, you won't. You won't be able to because we don't have enough data. Gotta use this one. There we go. Daily chart on the crypto markets. Look at this. Look at this, man. Wow. What do you guys think is the winner? What is this right here? Any guesses, guys, on what went up? Want that? What? 143,000%? 143,000%, man. And then we got another one at a close second, 120,000, 78,000, and then down here 43. Right, so this is actually crypto. This right here, FTM. Okay, Phantom. And then at a close second, we have AXS. Okay, wow. You wouldn't even see like, where's, okay, Polygon right here. See, that's why, like, even looking at Doge and Shiba, like, those guys were nice runners back down here. I believe this is, no, this is Sand. They're not even on here, dude. That's crazy. Because, I mean, yeah, these guys have been around since, like, 2020. So, like, it is, you know, taking that into account as well. They've been down here before. Shiba's newer, 2021. Doge, I think, 2020. So they still, I mean, that's why they still have juice, man. They can still keep going. But then you come, you know, you take a look here. We go on the micro chart, and you can see things are starting to change. Like now, we have CFX is number one, I believe. XVG and CFX should be here, though. I'm on the hour chart, though. Let's go on the... This should be, yep, CFX. Here we go. CFX, for those that don't know, this is an AI crypto. And there's a new crypto that just came out. It is called WDL. That's the World Coin. That's the dude that made ChatGPT. And yeah, that thing is still pretty low, man. I don't know where that's going to go, but they just launched like a week ago. Whatever happened to Sam? Oh yeah, they just kind of stopped covering that. I think he just got he got prosecuted. I don't know what went down really with that. They're like not covering that. I feel like anymore. It was like short-term news and then just kind of went away. I have no idea. No idea, man. All right, let's see. Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll just start covering, man. Just move on. Like, it's just like, okay, that was the crypto dump of 2020, what, 2022? Crypto dump. And then, so we had FTX, we had Luna, the Luna crash, and then the FTX crash. We call it a little crash, crypto sweep. Just like, all right, sweep some of these real quick. Liquidity, back to normal, back into cycle. Man, this is just, yeah, the catalyst, bro. All right, let's see what's extremely oversold here in the crypto markets, or overbought. We got BNX down here. Green IDU. I know Ape's got to be down here. Yep, Ape. I'm telling you guys, Ape. Something about Ape, bro. Ape is down 91% compared to the entire crypto market. And this is the majority of cryptos, guys. Like, this is a bulk set of cryptocurrencies. Most of the ones that you know are going to be found on this. There's 5 different indicators here combined showing us everything. And yeah, dude, Ape is at the Ape is at the bottom. No, this is not Ape AMC. This is Ape USD. Ape coin is completely different. This has to do with like NFTs and stuff. But yeah, it's like look at that, man. Way down here. A little sad guy at 91%. A lot of these that come down have been suppressed for quite some time end up ripping really hard, dude. Can you compare AMC now to June? Let's do it. All right, so comparing it to, in terms of comparing the two, I would be comparing it based on volume and what previously happened on the chart. So if I was comparing June of 2021, a couple of things, right? I'm using the spots indicator just to see the structure of the pattern, how many spots we have. I can definitely use RSI, but in this case, I'm going to use the change indicator because I think that one will show me some things that RSI won't. In terms of intervals, we're both at the 15-minute. So one of the reasons why I like using this, and RSI is great as well. Don't get me wrong. We're gonna bring RSI as well because you definitely want to, if you're gonna track the cycle, you want to see similar levels using the RSI. So a lot of these are great. I mean, you don't need many indicators, right? But so they're gonna show us something similar. But the thing about ROC, it tracks the rate of change. So it will. Some of the values in RSI are limited. They are in a threshold inside, and the ROC kind of breaks away from that. So it shows you a little bit more as far as the percentage, which is good. So it'll still show the oversold and overbought areas, but you can kind of compare that a little bit more when you're using historical data. So in this case, what I would do, and something that maybe the RSI will miss to show a bit, is tell me where we are in this specific cycle. So in terms of where I think we are comparing them both together, with using the structure of patterns here in the changes indicator, would be June 2nd. Now, June 2nd here is telling us that the pump is done, right? But that's the difference between the, just because we'd be in that, in that little section of the cycle, doesn't mean that things can't flip over once they actually start coming down in June. So initially, I would think we're here, but then as the pattern starts building up and coming back up, I think that going into June, we would start climbing back up, or July, we would start climbing back up instead of climbing back down. Let's see. But let me look at the daily for both. And the daily here definitely looks a lot more like the RSI instead of the changes here. A couple of things. So it is RSI, and the levels I'm using for RSI here are, I probably shouldn't be using these. I'm going to use the 50. So a couple of things, right? So we know that the price was descending prior to this run up. So comparing specifically June, I think with the peak would be a better match than the at least the start of it, right? If anything, I think we have more correlation with January. January has more correlation because it also goes like if we track the 120-day cycle, just flat out using this. This was a pump and dump, right? We know January was a pump and dump. It starts climbing down, and eventually it comes back up just like it did in November. Now, November's comes up a lot quicker. It's not, it comes up way quicker. And this is a crazy part, okay? November, see how we talked about like us having a larger pattern here? If you stretch out November, you get the beginning of January going into March. It's the same pattern. It's just a fractal. It's bigger. That's the crazy part. And then the crazier part, guys, is that it flips as soon as the price starts coming down. You get that negative catalyst here on Cinemark. You see how it comes down very quickly? Here, it goes up. So that's how you know it's an inverse point of interest. Same thing right here. We take this pattern, and it's actually a lot smaller. So I'm talking the one in January is actually a lot smaller. So that's why we're taking it like this, and we're kind of building on top of it, saying that, well, we would see the POI happen sometime in October, not, later in the year, December time. I think things look a little bit more like they did. Even RSI, see RSI 55. You can see right here 51. See how close it is to November time? We have a lot of correlation there. RSI, and then on changes, okay, changes, I'm going to change something. I'm going to do 10 for this. Here we go. Look at this. Ready? So 38. We're at 38, guys. What was it at over here? That $40 range. Same thing. Okay? Until that point. It's very quick. It comes in and it comes back out. Here, it spent a little bit more time on there, but that is because we just entered that phase. This is very recent. It's very new. Look at the spots indicator as well. We have a cross, a blue spot, it comes up. We're going to come back up again, and then it comes back down. That's a good question. What happens if they delay everything again? Well, from what I had initially said, right? Because I think it all happened so quickly. People thought that this was like set and done, like we're done with the case and stuff. But that was not the case, right? Like everything at from that point on, we started to come down, but just with a lot of FUD going on around that. But now that Adam wants to propose something, and then we have earnings coming up as well, I think something's going to happen. I think that based on the events, what makes the most sense to me is, so this could go two ways. and let's talk about it, because it is important. But I'm gonna pull up the projection for this so that we can kind of construct the way the catalysts are gonna play out. And this is just the projection, guys, based on a lot of different factors right now in the cycle, in the market. So this is a projection that we have, and we can kind of start figuring this out, because back in 2020, like I said, right around this time on this fractal here, we had some FUD about the Cinemarks, and AMC. I forgot exactly what it was, but initially the catalyst was actually a Pfizer catalyst. It was that now that was bullish for COVID. Like once COVID ended and they had that Pfizer thing, they basically gave the green light for movie theaters to start running and people could go to the movies again. So that obviously caused the price to go up. Shortly after, though, we had a offering. So Adam Aaron had an offering, literally, like 5 days after it, I think he had an offering. So that caused the price to go down. They completed the offering, and then they had some Cinemark FUD. The price went down, and then they did some deal with like Mudrick Capital. That lasted quite some time. Had completed the offering, and then we started to go back and forth between the price action. It was coming down. So based on that correlation here, what we can do is kind of narrow down, because dude, a lot of this that is happening right now is very similar, right? So we have the price pump after the case, and then Adam releases a tweet basically saying he wants an offering, basically. And that's all you really need. We don't need a definitive offering. We need the speculation that there is, or that there could be an offering. That's all it really takes for the price to come down. So the fact that we have that catalyst right after this and it starts dumping, you kind of have to figure out what's going to go around here. And we're narrowing everything down. We know that there's earnings coming up here, August, in the next week. So something's going to happen there. And based on the projection here, it looks like there's going to be maybe some kind of uncertainty. This entire chart here is filled with uncertainty, in my opinion. And that kind of sucks, but in a way, realizing where we are in the market and how AMC has behaved recently, this is not, it's not out of question to play out. AMC has been, it's just been consistently in this uncertainty phase ever since Ape was, ever since the charts were separated from one another, right? So Adam Aaron wants to dilute AMC. I think a lot of people disagree with that. A lot of people agree with it. Regardless of what happens with the price with AMC, or what's going down behind the doors, which one can only speculate. The only thing that we do here is we don't pay too much attention to what's going on behind the doors. We pay attention to how the catalyst might affect the structure of the chart, how a chart looks. That's what I pay attention to the most, because we've learned time and time again, and this is the one thing that I think a lot of people know and realize, is that it doesn't matter if the catalyst is bullish or bearish. The chart, if it's bullish, man, the chart will probably come down. If it's bearish, the chart will probably go up. That's just what we have seen, not only with AMC, but a lot of the market does that. They'll be like, yo, Mara, $7 target, it's at $3. Or no, it's at going to 7, and it's all right, $3 target on Mara, and then it just keeps going up to 15. Why do you think they release that stuff? It's so that people, they listen to that. Don't go in on the stock while it's pumping. Same thing with AMC. I think they're gonna find a way to just, it's gonna be FUD, man. It's gonna be FUD until things pop. That is what I see happening here. I see uncertainty in this phase. Uncertainty FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. FUD, bro. It's the FUD phase. The FUD phase. All right, we're coming up to 2 o'clock, guys. Let's see what we have in store for Amy. Intraday. So this little green fractal, and I'll come back to it. It's not, so it's something that we are tracking right now. If you want to track that fractal, I've already posted this on TradingView. So if you go on, see profile, first thing you're going to see here is this right here. And then you just press play, and it'll show you, what's going on. I just posted this last week, so this is the projection I have based on everything I talked about, and it gives you a little summary here of what I expect. So take a look at that, man. It's on the video, on the last video. There's a link there. Now, that is just a formulated pattern based on a lot of different things. So it's not a fractal. It's a projection with a lot of different patterns involved, and they're not specifically one-to-one. It's just what I think is going to play out with AMC's chart in the next few months. I think that's what we have in store with everything going on right now. And if you zoom out, that does not look bad on AMC. Why? Talked about this massive pennant. This massive pennant that is basically waiting to be made here. Guys, I can't, there's many ways this can play out. This is just one level I'm tracking. It's the main level we're tracking with options right now is 25. 25 is a hedge zone that you just can't ignore. I'm not gonna ignore this level because it's crossing the volatility zone, which we get rejected from, passing the support, the parallel, and the volatility all in one, which makes it very likely that the price would come down initially here. If this does not come down and it crosses the volatility zone and keeps going, then that's something else, right? At that point, I would be tracking maybe something a little bit more along the lines of like an Elliott impulse wave, which means this is 1, and then 3 is the biggest one. This can go wherever. But even that means that the price has to come down and breathe for a little bit. So realistically, right, if the price crosses and goes up, if we track this, what happens here, right? See how long this drags out for, though? Because we have a pennant formation. What this does is it brings the price down. We trade sideways for basically another year, right? And then technically this would be considered a pennant right there. Why? Because this pennant has a few fake outs. You don't have to track the absolute bottom level of resistance to call it a pennant. All you got to do is zoom out on the macro chart to see some of these levels. So, for example, let's go on the monthly chart. Very powerful chart. And what do we see, right? So this is a classic pennant pattern that breaks out. If it doesn't break out, then what would happen right here is AMC would come down, It would trade sideways again, and then you would go back to square one. You have a massive pennant on the chart. So, but, you know, I don't like to get super ahead of myself when it comes to these projections because that's way too long for me. Anything could happen here if the price triggers a ripple effect, which means you cross the threshold and the price just keeps going because the algorithm can't stop it. And we saw that happen once with GameStop. So it can happen again. I mean, it's happened before, so why can't it happen again, right? Why compare crypto? Because these hedge funds and algorithms that run this have to use other liquidity in the markets, which means that those same algorithms, if they're using other liquidity in the markets and they're doing the same thing, it means that there's going to be some kind of correlation within that pattern itself. Because retail plays a very small role in the way price movement runs and works. It's little money versus big money. So with that, I mean, you affect the price. You and other retail and large institutions have the ability to break an algorithm, but it requires a lot of volume. So that's the thing, right? Like, we don't control the price. The institutions do. And that is why I believe that, you know, they use crypto for this. You know, crypto, I'll show you guys an example, man. So you think AMC is the only crypto that looks and tracks a, you know, another cryptocurrency in the market like Ethereum Classic has a very high correlation with it? Well, these patterns that you see play out on different time frames, right? So I'll give you an example here. We have Lucid is a prime example. And I can pull up Mara as well on this. But do you see these two charts right here? Okay, these are both premium charts. Remember the chart we tracked on AMC? Why is it that these premium charts, both of them, they're different? Why are they showing me upside at the point at which Lucid goes up? Right? We have upside there, upside here, upside there, then downside, followed by upside again, and then even right here, after the price is flat for a while, it tells me that there is upside in January again, and then it's flat. Both of these patterns do that. Okay, this is just one, and it's the premium chart. With Lucid, you could do the same thing. You can go back and track Litecoin. And what has Litecoin already done? Go on the monthly chart for Litecoin, and it'll show you Lucid. Okay, and these two charts, right there. Well, let's go on the weekly as well. Okay, you can see Lucid is way ahead of the game, right? Doesn't mean that it has to track it to that point. It could have given up already, but it's the same chart. It's the same chart structure. Is that scary or not? That is why we compare crypto, guys. One thing I will say about this, though, with patterns, they do stop tracking at some point, and I can see right here something relevant, right? Like, people say, like, really, bro, you're just calling for upside or downside. It really does come down to that when you see a major spike or a major short. If you flip this pattern here, you can already see like similarities between the current chart. It's calling for short-term downside and then a continuation back up, right? Litecoin is not going to be an extreme volatility crypto. It is, you know, one of the more controlled ones. So Yeah, I wouldn't see anything crazy, but I mean, it's telling me that essentially it's possible it stopped tracking when? In December with the entire market. Right around that time is when things flipped and they start tracking either the same cycle inverse or something else. But that is just one example, guys. I mean, this is the entire market here. It's not just AMC. AMC, we happen to have a little bit more knowledge and we're a little bit more aware of like what's going on with the price, but this happens everywhere. Happens everywhere in the market. All right, 30-minute chart, short-term projection. Here we go. Guys, you watched the video yesterday. This is the projection that we had. Look at that. Price is looking great. So it looks like going into the after-hour session, we might see some kind of volume. Maybe that would be ideal. Otherwise, the price might continue to go up tomorrow and then start coming down sometime in the middle of the day. So this is basically saying that around... So the end of day tomorrow going into Wednesday, we would see that $5 range again. Now, a lot of you want to see the price go up. I want to see the price go up, you know, to crazy levels, right? But you do have to be realistic in the markets, and the only way that's going to happen is if there is pressure on the shorts here, and the only way that's going to happen is if the price is ascending with volume and the algorithm breaks. Okay. Let's pull up GME down here so I can show you guys how this works, how this is going to work here. $15-minute chart on GME. And we'll do, well, no, let's do the 30-minute. And the 30-minute chart on AMC. Okay, so do you guys see this massive ascending channel on GME? This is a classic representation, man, of what I think would happen with AMC. And to compare this, though, I think in this case, we would be somewhere around October. So I think this right here is basically equivalent to what happened in October. Why? Because the macro setup is a little bit different. Like GME started to climb up following a pretty major downtrend. It all basically started in August, right? So we got shut down there. Price keeps going up. It looks very similar to this. And then what happens? It comes down. So this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is FUD going on. You see, like, it starts picking up traction on Reddit. Everybody's talking about the possibility of a squeeze, right? So what happens? August, it pumps. September, it starts coming down. It comes back up. Sideways pump again. Everybody goes crazy. Dumps again. Comes back to basically August levels, almost. Then it pumps again. But see what it's doing the entire time. The entire time, it's respecting this ascending support trend line. That's what we need here. It's like, this must be respected. If it's not, it's just going to make it, a lot harder for AMC to climb up. This is very basic stuff here. The algorithm, what it's telling you, the algorithm here, even though the POIs are playing out back to back, boom, boom, the algorithm is still having a rough time keeping it in cycle, which means flat. And you have these like fake outs happening in the algorithm that eventually the algorithm breaks. It goes from $4 to 10. This is post or pre-split. That's why it looks like this. Pre-split. And then the algorithm breaks and the price surges very quickly. We have a major squeeze. Not a major squeeze, but a mini squeeze happen on GME. And that is what I mean. And look at that. Even the squeeze here from January 21st all the way to the 28th. before it's just shut down and it comes back into the cycle. You know what though? Even that, guys. Look at this major pump and dump by GME. Major pump and dump by GME. And then what happens after that? The price starts coming up. That's so common. It's such a common thing. Why I think the price is going to keep going up here. I mean, classic, dude. Classic. Look at that. It's even hitting the same levels too, man. Sure, the pattern is not a 1-to-1, right? But look at the levels. Saying it goes up to that 5.80, almost $6, trades sideways, and then it comes all the way back up to 7 by around earnings. Right there. GME, man, fractal. Wow, wow. All right, guys. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys liked the stream, appreciated the stream. I appreciate you guys coming in and chilling. And I will be doing this more often. We'll be doing some updates here on the Discord shortly. And if you guys want more of this stuff here, do go and do that on the Discord as well with other stocks in the market. Alrighty. So watch yesterday's video if you haven't already. That one goes basically in depth on everything I talked about here. Maybe not in depth, but like, you know, I went in depth in this video. But if you want more of like a summary of that, I go over that on this video that I posted yesterday. Alrighty. See you on the next stream, guys. Bye-bye.